Okay, I'm back with card 2. And I've done what I said I wouldn't do, and I've split the videos, but I just think it's easier then for people to find each card, you know, without having to go through one big video. So I've totally contradicted, which let's face it, we knew it would happen. So this is the card that I cased from Lisa Casillo, and it's got space on the back for you to write a message. You could even stamp something else on the back there, but it's really cute. And Nicola, Hannah, this will be great for you for cards for your little ones, pals. So yeah, and I love that it goes flat. I mean, when I say it goes flat, I think if you're posting that, you will need a large letter stamp on it, because it's got quite a bit of dimension with the foam pads and things. Okay, so are we ready to do this one? Now I'm gonna have to check my measurements a lot for this one, because I converted them. Nicola, you would have done it like in a breeze. So anyway, let's open up the pack. I have actually cut stuff to size for you, but I've not scored it, because I feel that you need to learn how to do some of it yourself. Just be careful getting your stuff out, because there's one piece that's a little bit wider than the bag. Right, let me go through what everything is, because you've got quite a bit. You've got a piece of thick basic white, which is for the back. Okay, that's for the back piece. Then you've got a smaller rectangle of white. This is for the pop out piece. Okay, in the middle, this piece here. Yep. And then the other piece of white is a long, thinner piece, and this is for the bendy piece. Yep. You then have 2 pieces of Pool Party, which are for the back. They've been cut to size for you. And you've got a couple of scraps, and this is for, I've put this in for any sentiments you want to do, and I've put a little bit extra in. This is from my scraps box, in case you had any little errors or anything like that. And of course you need papers. Now I'm using the other 3 papers that we didn't use before. You will have plenty of paper left, but let's do our, do our scoring first. And this is the trickier point, so you might need to pause the video. And I will go through measurements for people who didn't take part in this class. And I probably will be factoring this card into another class soon. So we're scoring, so please put your cutter blade away. And we are going to take this piece and we are going to put it in landscape. When I say landscape, I mean with the widest piece going across the top. Now this piece measures 14.8 by 10.5, so that's the standard size of a card base, so it's exactly the same size as this card when it's folded. Okay, so remember putting that cutter away. We are going to score at 7.4 centimetres, so it's just one back from 7.5, so it's just one little notch back from 7.5, so it's half of 14.8, so we're just going to score that. Okay, and we can fold that as well. So we've cut that in half. All right, now I have to be really careful with this. Yeah. Okay, so for this one, no, not that one. Sorry, this one. Okay, this measures 11 centimetres by 5 centimetres. 11 by 5 centimetres. And what we're going to do, we're going to score from each end at 1 centimetre, but I always score my smaller measurements at the right hand side there. So you can see it is on the screen. I've done this before and the trimmer's not been on the screen. So the reason why I do that is then because you've got all this piece here to hold on to, and it's butted up against there, whereas if you do it there, you've not got much to hold on to. So pop it in there at 1 centimetre and score it, don't cut it, score it, and then flip it round and score it on the other side. Okay, now this measured 11, yeah? So we then want to also put it in at 5.5 centimetres, and we're going to score it at 5.5, okay? So we've scored at 1 centimetre in from each edge, and then we've scored in the middle at 5.5. Now what you can do is, I want you to, with the score there, you've just scored, so you've got your valley, I want you to make that into a mountain like that. If you've got a bone folder, you can burnish those folds. So that's going to go like that, and then those are going to fold back. Okay, so it's going to be like that. And then we just need to finally score this long piece, and again, easy peasy, we're just going to score it at 1 cent, don't cut, 1 centimetre from each end, don't cut, and another 1 centimetre from each end. And this piece measured 16.8, right, by 3.5. Now, the reason why it measured 16.8 is because we are taking 1 centimetre from each end, so that when we fold that over, it's 14.8 and it's the same width as the card. So you can fold those back. Okay, now we are going to cut our papers, all right? We're going to cut our papers. So first one, we'll get this one for the backgrounds. Now it's personal choice with this, it depends on how big a border you want, okay? So what I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do it, cut it down to 10, okay? And that's for the height, because it's 10.5. So I'm taking 0.5 centimetre off. Now these gaps, so these gaps both measure this space 7.4. So I want to take 0.5 centimetre off this to match. So I need to cut it at 6.9. So it's just one back from 7. 6.9, and then another one at 6.9. And you'll have a little strip left over that you can use on something else. Okay, so those are for our back panel pieces, like that, yeah? Okie doke, happy with that? Now we are going to cut this one. I'm doing them in the same order as we did the scoring. We're going to use this one. Okay, now these are quite small. These are 4 by 4.5 centimetres. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut one strip off there. I'm going to put it in landscape and put it at 4. And then you've got all that left for something else because we're not using that again. And then I'm going to flip it and cut this at 4.5. And another 4.5. And that's spare too. So those will go on here like that. All right. And then finally, we've got our bendy piece. Now this measured, hang on, did it measure 3.5? Yeah, so we're going to cut it 3 by 14.3. So actually, what you can do is put it in here to the 3 centimetre and just cut 3 centimetres off that bit there. And this is more or less nearly the right width. You just need a bit cutting off it. You need to bring it down to 14.3. So you've just got shy of a centimetre to cut off that. And then we've got that piece there. Yay. Okay, so that's all our cutting for that because I've already done the 2 pieces for the back for you. All right, so now we need to stick our paper on. Yep, I'm just gonna see, right. You can line it up actually so that it matches, it sort of matches, but Nicola, you would be very pleased with the efforts that Evan and I went to for his teacher gifts at high school, for his 3 A-level teachers. Got personalised notebooks and we made them a card each. It's really good actually, because the place where we got the notebooks from, I tagged them on Instagram and they've done a little feature on me, given me a shout out, so that was nice. Okay, so I've stuck those on the back like that. And then we can stick these on here. This card is so much easier than you will think it is. If that made sense. That wasn't really a good sentence. It's so much easier to make than it looks. There we go. Try again, Julie. Whew. Gosh, I'm flagging with the heat. I'd never like to complain about when it's warm. But I think I'm going to have to go to the shop and buy a fan today. Because there's not much. I've just said that, but a bit of cool air's wafted through, so that's rather nice. Okay. So there we have that bit done. And if you want to mix the papers up and do them a different way, then choose to mix them up. And then that one's going to pop on there like that. Okay, right. So we're now ready to sort of decorate. Everything's sort of still flat at the minute. Now, on mine, I've done happy birthday, and then down here I've done make a wish because the sort of puffins blowing the candles out. So my advice would be to do this before you've stuck it together. Now, when I made this, I'd done it and then I thought, oh, I could do with something stamping there. So I actually stamped it when it was constructed and pressed it down flat. So I'm actually quite impressed with how good it's turned out, to say that it was a little bit of an afterthought. And that's how my designs all come to be, really. I make them up as I'm going along, especially when I'm doing the papercraft and piano. So stamp the Make-A-Wish. Just be careful that you've not got ink around the edges, and then on your flat piece try and eyeball it in the center and stamp down. Now it's a bold font so it's easy for you to see it. I wouldn't, because this is, I know it's spotty and it's quite busy, it's not as busy as this, so I think it's easier to see it on a pattern like this. Yeah, so that's going to go on there. Okay, so construction of the card. Now, what we're going to do is, it might be easier for you to use tape. I did mine with glue. In fact, I will do it with glue, but you could do it with tape. And what we are going to do, it's really simple. You're going to glue on there, flatten it down, and you want to make sure that the score line on your small piece matches up with the score line here, and that it's flush to the bottom of the piece of card like that. Yeah, so I'm going to go for it with wet glue because I did last time and I managed to not make too much of a mess. So it gives you a bit of wiggle room as well. So with those lines matching and flush with the centre, hold that down for a good few seconds. And because we'd folded it forward, yeah, if you want to make sure it's okay, you can go in with a ruler like that and flatten those, you know, go over those tabs just to push them down and reinforce them a bit. All right, so that's that, and that's stuck in like that, and it forms like a little cube like that. Yeah, well, not a cube, but you know what I mean. Okay, same thing with this, but this is a little bit easier because you can do one of these at once. So I'm going to fold them back, the tabs. I'm going to take the glue, and this is going to line up with the right hand corner like that with the edge of the card. Hold that down, have a drink. And then do the other side. Oops, got a bit too much on that, spread it out a bit. And then line that up as well and hold that down. Now, was that easier than you thought it was going to be? I hope it was. And then once it's all glued and dried, it will look like that. And I'm just going to strengthen those, push those down a bit. Now, if you want to, you could stamp something on here, like some of the candles or another sentiment, but I'm just going to stick those on the back. These are already cut down for you, but just FYI, they're the same size as the paper that you cut for the back pieces, so they are 6.9 by 10. There we go. Okay, and then we have the basics of our card. Ta-da! Now we need to do some stamping and decorating. Let's do our sentiment first. So dead simple, you've got loads of card for this. Ink up the happy birthday. Doesn't matter where you stamp it. Ink it down like that. Ink it down, stamp it down like that. Okay, so you've got loads left. So you've got a little bit of card left for coordination to make something else. What I'm going to do is we're going to hand cut this out. So I'm going to cut fairly close to the top. If you've got a punch, you could punch this out, but I quite like the hand cut nature, so I'm going to snip between the happy and the birthday, like that. And then I'm going to trim the bottom off. So I've got that. And then there. So we've got our happy birthday ready to go on. All right, and then let's do some stamping. Now, do you remember this A5 piece? This is going to come into its own now. So I'm using the same Puffin. In fact, I think I've used the same one on all the cards. They'll be getting cross that I've got favourites. So, oh, that's nice stamped, nicely stamped. And then the cake. And I'm going to colour these and we are going to cut them out, I'm afraid. There's no matching dies, there's no matching punch. We need to use the scissors, all right? I'm just thinking, you know, you could, if you wanted to go to town with this, you could stamp some of the little fish and sort of have them jumping, you know, over the top, or, I don't know, dangling from the top or something. Anyway, that's just an idea for you. And I'm going to colour this exactly the same as I coloured the previous one. Oh, did I not colour the... Oh no, I did colour the... I thought I didn't colour the flames in. I coloured them in the light one. Well, that's open. I think I'd quite like this cake for my birthday. Two weeks today. Well, at the time of the video. Yep, I get a Saturday birthday today. This year, I mean. There we go. Just need to do the hat. What time are we on? Oh, it's nearly 9 o'clock. It's getting a bit busier here in these offices now. Right, so I'm going to cut these out, okay? What I like to do is cut it down to a smaller piece first to make it a bit more easier to negotiate, so like that. And you've got all that left. I think we only need 3 little fishes on that next. Okay, so as far as the puffing goes, what I'm doing is you really need to invest, if you haven't already, in a pair of our paper snips, which is what I'm using. I know it might seem a bit boring buying a pair of scissors when there's other nice things like papers and stamps in the catalogue, but they really are the best. They're so sharp, and I'm literally just letting the paper move around. I've even got a pair at home that I keep to one side that I've used to trim when I've cut Craig's hair since last March with some old clippers that Peach gave me, my friend Peach, and I use a pair of snips to do the trimming. I've got it off to quite a fine art now. So there we go, I've cut the puffing out. Now the cake's a little bit trickier. Well, sort of, but I'll just show you what I'm going to do. I always leave a little bit of white space around the edge as well. So what I'm going to do with the candles is get to the candles and just cut across the top of them like that. And then I'm only going down a little bit on the flames. I'm not going to go right down each candle because, hey, I'm human and it doesn't matter. There we go. So I've got everything cut out. Now the puffing, is going to sit there like that. So a bit of on an angle, and the cake's going to sit here. So when they are sort of proud of, they are shy, apart from one leg, they're not behind this bit. Now, what you need to be aware is you don't want any foam pads beyond this white part, because they could potentially stick to the back of the card. So you only want foam pads on the very dimensionals, on the very bottom of the cake. So I'm going to take one, and it's going to sit right on the bottom there, and the cake's going to sit there like that, and there's no dimensional sticking out or potentially sticking to the back. On this one, I'm going to pop two the bottom, and I'm just going to make sure that they don't stick beyond. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so they're not sticking beyond, and then we can stick our happy birthday down. Now these are a little bit narrower, so what I like to do is I like to use these edge pieces that I cut down. Okay, so I'll snip these edge pieces, and they're really good for things like this. Nothing goes to waste. And what I want to do is I'm going to pop them up so they're flush with the side of the paper, so they're aligned to the right. That would be the technical term. But of course it's your card, you can do what you want with it. And there we go, there we have our second card. So let me have a look what it looks like on the screen. There we go, we've got two lovely Puffin pop-up bendy cards, whatever we want to call them. We can write on the back, and these cards do fit inside our envelope. Ta-da! Oh, so what we could do, because we've got some papers left, I'll just finish my coffee. Because we've got some papers left, we could decorate the flap of the envelope. How does that sound? So you would need a pencil for this, and mine is here, but it's a little bit dodgy, my pencil. But we'll see how we go. So you can trace around the back. Good old-fashioned tracing. Oh, don't move it like I just did. Okay, now because you've gone round it with a pen, don't cut don't cut to the right of the pencil. Cut sort of on the line or inside the line slightly, just as the line starts, really. Okay, so that's done. And then we can glue that onto there, and it makes it ever so nice and pretty. Yeah? Fancy, fancy. There might be a little bit to trim, but that's all good. So if you look, I've got a tiny bit to trim. That's fine. So we have, I don't know which is my new one and which is my old one. I don't really suppose it matters. So there we have our card with matching envelope and card 2. So I will see you on the next video. And I don't know when it's going live, but you will be able to see on my channel. I'll sort that out after I film them. And I will let my lovely ladies know who've booked on. So that's card 2. And I'll be back shortly with card 3. Thank you. Bye.